The gas stove. It's the workhorse of millions of kitchens. And for generations, we've been sold the idea that it's the best cooking method.
The world of tomorrow is cooking with gas.
I just love the modern styling of this built-in gas range.
But over the last few years, that narrative has been shaken. There's a growing push to phase out gas connections in new construction.
New buildings will now be required to use electricity.
The gas industry isn't going down without a fight, and it's getting ugly. And your stove is at the center of it all.
There's no doubt about it. Modern matchless gas ranges make you a better cook.
Natural gas has been used in homes since the late 1700s, when it was primarily used for lighting. Today, it powers furnaces, water heaters, stoves, and other home appliances. And as early as the 1930s, the gas industry has led massive direct-to-consumer campaigns promoting gas as a clean, reliable energy source to outcompete electricity. Over the years, the campaigns have really zeroed in on one target: the kitchen.
Gas! Cooking with gas.
Cooking with
This marketed image of superior gas stoves has been hugely successful. More than a third of Americans are still using gas stoves today. In some areas, about 70% of households cook with gas.
Cooking with gas.
We've been trained to have a blind spot around natural gas, starting with the name itself.
First and foremost, we should probably discuss the name of it, natural gas. I mean, it has been perhaps one of the most successful marketing campaigns that we've seen from a large industry to call what is really a dangerous pollutant something natural.
That's Panama Bartholomew, Executive Director of the Building Decarbonization Coalition, which is working to fully electrify new homes and buildings. Panama says that the gas industry has long sold itself as a cleaner energy alternative. And until recently, even some environmental groups promoted it as a bridge fuel to smoothly transition our grid off coal and oil. Studies have also shown that most Americans perceive natural gas as less harmful than other fossil fuels, and it's the most positively viewed fossil fuel internationally.
But all the messaging around gas is better, gas is a bridge fuel, gas is clean, was just like music to the ears for people that wanted to continue to burn gas inside buildings.
But that messaging isn't exactly accurate. Let's start with something that often gets glossed over: what natural gas actually is.
So natural gas is a fossil fuel that is primarily composed of methane. So it's used as an energy source, but methane is also a powerful greenhouse gas with over 80 times the warming potential of carbon dioxide over 20 years.
That's David Lyon from the Environmental Defense Fund. His research helped reveal the true cost of relying on natural gas. All fossil fuels release carbon dioxide when they're burned, which is the greenhouse gas that gets the most attention. While natural gas does release less carbon dioxide when it's burned, that doesn't necessarily mean it's actually much cleaner. One big reason? The way gas gets to our homes. This process produces a lot of fugitive leaks. Methane can leak out of gas wells, processing plants, and even pipes, and they're pretty hard to track.
Typically, methane emissions are invisible to the naked eye, but with a special infrared camera, you can see the emissions. So we deployed a crew with the camera on a helicopter to survey over 8,000 well pads across the country. And they looked for large emissions of methane and other pollutants.
What they found were hundreds of super emitter sites leaking methane, making up most of the oil and gas industry's methane emissions every year. All that leaking methane can be enough to cancel out the perceived environmental benefits of switching from coal to natural gas. But in spite of all these concerns, the use of natural gas is actually booming. In 2019, natural gas made up 32% of energy consumption in the US, and globally, it's the fastest growing fossil fuel. That's partly because of the surge in hydraulic fracturing, or fracking, which is used to extract hard-to-reach gas reserves by blasting water, chemicals, and sand deep into rock formations. Fracking has helped the US produce more natural gas than any other country in the world. But it's also gotten a lot of backlash because it can contaminate drinking water and cause even more methane to leak into the air. Finally, once gas makes it all the way into your stove and out a burner, the problems don't end. Research suggests that a gas stove can produce twice as much harmful particulate matter as an electric stove. Other research has found that levels of carbon monoxide can be up to 3 to 6 times higher in homes with a gas stove. So it's clear that the costs of extracting and using natural gas are much higher than we thought only a couple decades ago. But thanks to all this new research, a number of cities are starting to take major steps to move away from natural gas. In 2019, Berkeley, California became the first city in the US to ban natural gas hookups in new construction. And though a number of cities have followed suit across the US, there's been one major pain point. Yep, yet again, it's the stove.
The biggest issue that we found, and we interviewed in 2019 dozens of home builders up and down California, and what they told us the number one issue was cooking.
In some cities, all those years of pro-gas messaging and millions of dollars of lobbying are winning out. For example, in 2019, the City Council of Seattle proposed banning natural gas in all new single-family homes. This would have included gas ranges, but after a backlash from utility companies, the proposal was changed to not include gas cooking in the ban. The City Council passed it this year. Lots of people really truly love their gas stoves, and I get it. You can get better temperature control from an open flame, but they're actually pretty evenly matched with modern induction stoves, even sometimes falling short.
We know that induction cooking is better. It's 3 times more powerful than gas cooking. It's got twice the control. It doesn't have any pollution. It's way safer for children and for older citizens.
Induction stoves regularly top Consumer Reports, but only account for 5% of all ranges sold in the US. This might be because gas stove tops are usually cheaper to purchase, but they might not be cheaper in the long run.
And induction stoves are so efficient that even though gas is cheaper than the electricity, the overall monthly bills can be around the same or even cheaper in all electric homes. You know, what the builders have told us is we need a massive campaign to educate people about induction cooking.
It's clear that emissions from natural gas are making the climate crisis worse. Plugging up all those fugitive methane leaks could help a lot. But many experts say that won't be enough to combat climate change. In the long run, the only surefire way to get rid of all the emissions from natural gas is to stop using it in the first place. And that's hard to do if people are unwilling to give up their gas stoves. Thanks so much for watching. If you're still curious about what the future of energy is going to look like, check out our video about virtual power plants.